Faith Forged in Fire, where we dive headfirst into the unique challenges and triumphs that comes with being a firefighter, all while exploring what it means to live out a biblical worldview. Join us as we find hope, perseverance, and faith in the midst of the heat and chaos. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome back to the Faith Forged in Fire podcast. Today we are going to be talking about the firefighter's learning curve and the value of training and mentorship. And we have a guest with us. You know my voice, PJ's voice. You know Chief's voice. Say hi, Chief.
Hi, Chief.
Oh, thank you. Sitting next to the Chief, probably the worst spot in the room, is...
Ow. That hurt my feeling.
is our resident, our own personal, we'll call him our own personal rookie.
Yes.
So we have with us today Sawyer, and you're going to get to know Sawyer over time. Sawyer, our plan for Sawyer is to have a regular, reoccurring spot for him to jump on here and talk about things from a rookie's perspective. Say hi, Sawyer.
Hi.
Oh, thanks. Tell us just a little bit about yourself real quick. Fire service, how long you been in, how long you been out of the academy, all that stuff.
I've been in the fire service for 2 years, roughly. I just graduated this last April from Fire Academy, and I'm officially Fire 1 and 2 certified. So,
and you're
we'll
how
see
old?
How it goes. I'm 20.
20. Wow. Engaged to be married.
Yep. Started at 18 in the fire service.
So, and when we say in the fire service right now, he is at my fire department. And so he's paid on call, works right in town.
Yeah.
So
can leave my job basically whenever I want to respond. So
yeah,
I'm one of our day guys.
That's
so
nice.
He and I respond to a lot of calls together.
I should have brought him an application.
Yeah, move your, there you go. All right, so sorry about that. We're just taking care of making sure you can hear everybody in here. All right, let's get cranking here and let's talk about this. And we wanted, part of the reason that we did this was just to get a rookie's perspective. And then later on, we have a little bit of fun with our rookie. So don't go anywhere. This idea of training. Here where we live in Michigan, not too long ago, I got an email reminding me of the new thing that they do in Michigan, which is continuing education credits for firefighters. For us, this is new. That might not be new for people depending on where you are listening. So over 3 years, we have to get, Sawyer, how many hours do you remember? Put him on the spot. 36 hours. 36 hours of training over 3 years. If you take like a major class, like I took a 40-hour class, obviously that just covers it. So that's the nice thing. But the not so nice thing for Chief and I is that when you become fire instructor certified and fire officer certified, they tack on another 12 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So a total of 48 hours that we have to document training. So that doesn't seem like a lot, but when you have a family and a full-time job, and we talked about this in another podcast, the idea that career guys generally get to train on the clock. We don't.
Right.
So training is a big deal. I think that's a good thing. What do you guys think about this idea of continuing education for firefighters?
I agree with it. As crazy as it sounds, a long time ago. Matter of fact, I don't even think my son was born yet. My wife got me scuba instruction class. So I became scuba certified 25 years ago. I don't have to take any refresher classes. I'm scuba certified. And it seemed weird to me that I could go through the fire academy in 2002 and not really have to do, be held accountable for making myself better or at least staying up with the times. I just didn't understand it. I don't particularly like that where you have to go to get, like instructor classes or officer classes. I mean, there's not any really local. We're driving to Lansing or, all over the place. But I agree with it. Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
I think so for that point. I always thought it was weird that a guy could be out of the fire service for 10, 15 years and then decide, oh, let's do it again, and just walk in and go inside a burning building. That just didn't make any sense to me at all. And then, so Mr. Rookie over here, Sawyer, he just got out of the academy. How many things did you notice? I mean, they were constantly coming and they're like, hey, what about this? And we're like, I've never heard of that before, because they're teaching them different. You got to keep training. How was that for you?
I mean, when I first started, I knew how to put on turnout gear, sort of say, but I didn't know how to properly put on turnout gear. And I mean, I put on a SCBA plus all full gear 500 times plus probably in the academy to fully learn how to properly seal your skin from going into a burning house or from fire in general. But it was through the academy doing it 500 times. Now I can do it with my eyes closed.
Right.
But it's just, you have to keep training constantly to keep up to date with new NFPA standards that they might pass whenever, to know about them and just to keep pushing with it. Because eventually, I mean, our swing is to go towards electric cars. That's a big topic in the fire service with training, is because of the fact nobody knows how to deal with them. Well, in order to learn how to deal with them, you have to keep up on training.
Right.
To go through with it. So
you'd think he was looking at my notes. Teed me right up. So that was really my next thing, is the reason for training, and you just hit it, Sawyer. Changing tactics. We've had conversation even over how to hold a hose line when you're attacking the fire. I mean, the way they're teaching now seems awkward to me, but it's changing. I was taught to do a search. I mean, this is when I went to the academy, hands and knees, and you drag the hose line. How do they teach you, Sawyer? We're
on the ground, but if you touch the left wall, you're doing left-hand search. If you touch the right wall, it's the right-hand search. You're still dragging the hose line, but they said if you do, have a thermal camera with you, because it makes it a lot easier to see. But it's just how we were taught. Your tactic is they probably taught you, at least the way I'm seeing everybody teach now, is on your knee, just not hands and knees, but like one knee down and kneeling, then scooting. Yeah. Which that's one of those things that I'm like, well, that makes way more sense. You can move quicker. You have more control. So everything's changing. Somebody's probably laughing because they're like, I've been doing that for a while. But again, it depends on how much you're training and keeping up with stuff. Changing technology. You talked about that, Sawyer. Another thing that you and I have talked about, Chief, is the idea of volunteers needing to stay familiar with their gear, with their apparatus. How many times, without throwing anybody under the bus or putting you in an awkward situation, have you been a little frustrated? Somebody shows up and they haven't shown up for a while, and you need them to be on your A game. They don't know where something is on the truck.
Happens. Wow. Thanks. I thought the hard questions were going to be for the rookie. I guess in my opinion, it happens too often, but also when you're going to a fire, once is too often. Yeah. You know, I was the kind, when I started, again, I had fire service in my background. I was up there as often as I could going through the trucks, even if there wasn't anybody there, because I knew to ask the rookie, if we go to a fire and command says we need an attic ladder, it was on me. Right. I was going to be the gopher. I better know where that's going to be.
And generally, when I asked for an attic ladder, I needed it yesterday.
Yeah.
So there's no time to fool around.
And even if, let's say, Sawyer knows right exactly where it is, he hustles on down, grabs it, and comes back. It still took too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if he gets there and he runs to the wrong truck,
now somebody's yelling.
Yeah. Now you're like, dude, I mean, time's ticking, and it seems to on the fire service, 1 second is 15 seconds. It's a multiplier, and
fire doubles every minute.
Gotta go. And I guess that's one of my problems too is, like with you, the trucks well enough here, and Sawyer maybe not as much because you've got all the years of experience. So for you, it's common sense. You know right where it's at. Well, of course you do. It's been right there for 15 years or 10 years or whatever it's been. He's only been here 2 years. He doesn't know where every single thing is. So to us, when we have a little more experience, it's like, dude, come on.
The other thing is those tools that you don't use a lot. Mm-hmm. But when you need them like now. And then you're thinking, you're like, oh man, I know I saw that on here somewhere.
Yeah, like where's the hose vise for the LDH?
Chirp, chirp. Right.
Right.
I know where it is on the tender.
Right.
You know, so it's things like that. I have never in my life, other than when I was testing to get out of the academy, you know, for my final, used a hose clamp.
Right.
I never have. They got to be on the truck.
Yep. You might need one someday.
Right.
Yep. So let's transition this a little bit, especially we talked a little bit about training. We're going to move a little quickly through this so that we can get to our, have a little bit of fun here at the end of this episode. So you're shaking his head here, but I want to transition a little bit into as we think about training, the importance of mentoring. And there's kind of some interesting things we can go down this way, but the thing I love about this idea of mentoring is it is a directly biblical idea, and sometimes people don't even realize it. 2 Timothy 2:2, in which you've heard from me in the presence of many witnesses, and trust to faithful men who will be able to teach others also. So Scripture tells us we should be mentors to people, or we might call that discipling. So for Sawyer and I, we've had that relationship before he was a firefighter. You and I have that relationship where we have a, this is where you take your chief hat off, and because now I'm mentoring you biblically, spiritually, and the same with Sawyer. So it's an extremely biblical thing that more churches need to be doing. And as I was putting my mind into this episode, I thought, man, there are so many things that we can talk about on the biblical side of things. So we're going to kind of put those different things together as we walk through here. There was an article in Fire Engineering that talked about the benefits of mentoring. Let me just open this up and ask you, Chief, does your fire department have a mentoring program? Is that something you encourage?
I do. Yeah. And we've got a lot of people that will absolutely step up. Like I've got a couple of guys going through the academy right now, and one of my firefighters, can I name him?
I don't.
Matt.
Yeah.
You know, Matt is always gung-ho to do that kind of stuff. If you're going through EMS class, his wife, Amber, she's always, hey, I'm here. Help me. You know, I'm here for you. So, and generally I think everybody on my team, we all want to be better. And when we get a new person coming in, we all want to help that person get better. So, I mean, do we have a mentoring program? Yeah, but the whole team actually takes responsibility for that, because we all, hey, you're a team member, you're family now. We're going to take care of you.
Right. And that's maybe one of the benefits in a way of having a smaller fire department, because then everybody can kind of pitch in and do that. I don't know that I wouldn't say that we have a great mentoring program. We have people who like to do that. I'm one of those. I just enjoy teaching. We have others who, in every fire department has it. So I'm not throwing our fire department under the bus, but we have people who don't want anything to do with that. They just want to come and do their thing. I enjoy training. I had kind of an odd reminder of the importance of that Monday night at our training. So I'm looking at Sawyer for people who are not watching. So we got new pagers. It's been a little while since we've had pagers. Just they've all worn out and whatever. We were finally able to get some pagers. Well, we've got a whole crew of newer people that have never had a pager. And the only one that actually came and asked me about it was Sawyer. He's like, hey, how do I use this? I never even thought that they might not know how to use it. Just didn't dawn on me because, like you said, I've had a pager forever. It's been a part of who I am. Every morning I get up and I put the pager on, and at night it goes on the charger. It becomes a part of me. I was just thrilled, so I was thrilled to have one back, to be able to receive calls. For me, I want to hear it. But anyways, I start telling Sawyer how to use the pager. Next thing I know, every one of our new people is gathered around. Somebody's walking by. They're like, what's going on here? And somebody's, we're just getting a pager lesson. It's simple things like that somehow that knowledge just has to be passed down.
And quite often, like you're saying, it doesn't. For the simple fact that, if I'm on your station and we all get pagers, you and I have had pagers for 20 years. We know how to use them. It's like, duh. So you never kind of stop and go like, hey, wait a minute.
Right.
Sawyer has never had a pager before. Maybe we ought to take a couple minutes and show him the proper way or how this thing works.
Right.
We take it for granted that these guys know how to use that stuff.
Right. Yeah. Same thing with, I use 800 radios all the time. We got some new ones. We've got some people that, you know how it is. You get people that don't want to be on the radio, so they stay away from the radio. So they're not as sure how to use them. So you have to walk through. It's all about just really passing down and training. So just some thoughts that the Fire Engineering magazine put out, benefits to mentoring, fills in the blanks that SOPs, guidelines, and policies do not or cannot. So, Chief, you put together standard operating procedures, but you don't put in there the why or the, here's the wrong way to do it, things like that a mentor can pass down. Sir, how many conversations have you and I had of don't do it this way or don't do it that way?
My most vivid one was my first structure fire certified. You didn't make the first truck, and all I hear is screaming behind me wearing an SCBA. Here you come running up. Well, you got to do it this way. So it was on the job training of how to do my first fire.
Right.
And it was one of those things is I never got trained really till I was certified how to properly do it.
Right. And that's what's hard because you can't do it until you're certified. So then you got to learn. And yeah, I wasn't mad. It's just, I'm trying to get a fire out that's getting bigger and bigger.
And the worst part was it was gasoline too.
And I didn't take the nozzle from you.
Yeah. I was still front man on the nozzle with you backing me up because you're walking me through of hit this spot and then go over here, hit this spot at the same time and go over as a sweep.
That was grab the hose, throw the hand in the back of his back, throw my arm to the back and just start pushing him. That's how you learn, right? I see too many times guys come up and just take the hose. You're never going to learn that way.
No, that's kind of like what we do with command. I don't know how you guys do it up here, but quite often we'll be on something that's a little bit minor, a car accident with no injuries. And I'll get one of the newer people go like, hey, you're in command.
Yep.
You
gotta learn.
I'm here. If you have any questions or if you're not comfortable being in command, but then you kind of realize that even on the small events, when you've got command, you learn something.
Right. So that really leads to another thing they called out as successful mentees advance quicker than non-mentees. And that's because they're not learning by osmosis in a sense. They're learning more directly. And this is what I love about these. So the fills in the blanks that SOPs and guidelines don't. I think about our church and biblically this idea of disciple making. As the pastor, I get up and I preach, and a lot of that is giving the SOPs from Scripture. But now what do you do with that? Well, that's why we need good disciple making, mentor type relationships, even in church, to help people live those things out. Same thing, successful mentees advance quicker. Why? Because if the more I pour into Sawyer for him to learn, the quicker he's going to learn. Therefore, the quicker he's going to become more of a seasoned firefighter. It's no different in church. Rich, we talked about you're a young Christian, but you've grown more than you would have if you'd have just been sitting in church because we meet every week for Bible study.
Well, and absolutely, because there's times that we'll sit down and doing a study and we might read 3 chapters and it's like, yeah, okay, I read it. I get what it says. Then you go like, okay, now I want you to understand the significance of this because of this. Now we're going to go back to here and you have all the background and you can dig into it a whole lot different. And we can get those same 2 or 3 verses that I understood one way and you can shed a whole new light on it. You know, and that's got a lot to do with the fire service too. He went through the academy and it's like, okay, that's great. Now let's put it to application.
Yes,
let's help you understand this philosophy deeper.
It's more than just information, but it's why. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so that's what I've been, Sawyer, it's been almost, I think it's been close to 4 years that you and I have been getting together almost every week, studying the Bible together, doing life together. And with you, I saw very much like a couple years in, like just the light bulb came on and you started growing, started changing. We've talked about in our other podcasts, the growth in your life. It's really important, both that on the fire ground and in church, that we have this culture. Paul says in 1 Corinthians 11, be imitators of me as I am of Christ. And that we are to be leading people to Christ as they follow us. But it's really the same thing. We all have firefighters, or we should have, that we look up to. And if we like the way they do it and they're doing it well, we're going to hopefully start imitating them and doing things the way they do things. So this is important, and I feel like we barely scratched the surface of talking about this. I'm also going to say, I don't know that anybody heard it in the last one, but when we're recording this in my studio, there's a bunch of kids gathering. So if you can hear those kids in the other room, I apologize.
They're cadets.
Yeah, I wish my kids who are over there would absolutely love that idea. Anyways, tell us what you guys think about this, especially your experiences with mentoring and mentees. Let us know. Drop it in the comments especially if you're watching on YouTube. Let us know what you think about training. I mean, I hope we all have the same idea with training, but in Michigan, this idea of continuing education. What do you think about that? Do you think that's a good thing? Do you not like that? Let us know. The reason I'm really kind of trying to land this plane is because we promised you some fun. And so we're going to end up this episode with just a little fun. One of our goals on this podcast is that we would, sorry, I'm doing two things at once here. So one of our goals on this podcast is not just to reach firefighters, which a lot of this conversation today has been for firefighters, but we also want to help non-firefighters understand the fire service better. That's really kind of what this episode is, or this segment is going to be. And we're going to do this pretty much as often as Sawyer is on, at least for a little while, as long as he's a rookie.
Till he threatens to quit.
Till he threatens to quit, yeah. So if Sawyer doesn't know the answer, that's okay, really. But it helps you guys listening who might not know and understand. And I'll say this, some of you who are firefighters might disagree with the answer, and that's okay. But we might stop and talk about these answers a little bit too.
And an answer he may give, we may not go like, huh? And then you might go like, oh, that makes sense.
Right.
You know?
And he's saying, well, that's the way I was taught in the academy.
Darn new guys.
All right. So are we ready?
I am.
For this episode, I keep saying episode. This is it. This is it right here. Okay. So are you ready?
Ladies and gentlemen, live from Studio D, it's Sawyer.
Ask the rookie. He's shaking his head. All right, so here's how this is going to work for Sawyer and everybody. See, Sawyer has never heard this before. We did this on purpose. So here's Sawyer. If you get the answer correct, this is my little tribute to your gaming enjoyment, a little retro gaming music. All right, you can get a little level up there. And if you get the answer wrong, all right.
It's nothing like Pac-Man.
No. So we're going to take turns asking you questions, and maybe we'll get through however many we get through in the next couple minutes.
Do I get to ask him first? Because I don't know the honest answer.
Yeah, you can ask him first.
So your helmets. I'm assuming that my station has different colored helmets. Mm-hmm. What are your helmets and what do they mean?
Black, you're basically nobody. You're just firefighter or probie. Yellow's captain, red's lieutenant, and white is chief. It's our colors. So.
Yep. Yeah, and we don't have a probie helmet.
No.
I don't know if you got that right or wrong. I didn't hear the sound effect.
Oh, sorry. There we go.
Oh, it must be right.
That's
okay,
right.
now like at my station, it's white is a chief, chief or deputy chief. If you're a captain or a lieutenant, it's red.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yep.
And firefighters are black. It used to be black, and then if you were a rookie, it was yellow. And then the most special helmet that we have are the blue ones.
Yeah, I had that for a little bit.
Yeah, that means you're a chaplain.
See, now I'm getting used to that because in Grand Rapids, where I'm a chaplain, everything is, I wear a white shirt like a chief. I have the same gold, the gold brass or whatever you call that, like a chief. My helmet is white. So it's hard for me to put that on and wear chief
That white
stuff.
helmet's heavy, isn't it?
It is. I know. All right, so your second question. How long is one section of fire hose?
50 feet.
Oh, good job. Excellent. Chief, you're next.
I want to skip the third one. I'll give that to you because that's too easy.
All right.
What does IDLH stand for?
Ooh.
And I'm glad the answer's on here because I have an idea of, I know what the initials mean, but I can never remember.
There's a lot of them in the fire service, like SCBA. I have to always think about what that is. Bonus. What's an SCBA?
Self-contained breathing apparatus.
Self-contained breathing apparatus. Yes. And I knew this one, but I had to look to make sure that was pounded into us. Tell me what you think or pass. Pass is going to be a wrong answer. Oh, it isn't. Go ahead, Chief.
Immediately dangerous to life or health.
Which
is a hazmat
more often than we
time.
know, though. Even going to the highway is an IDLH atmosphere. So a lot of what we do, anytime you're on a structure fire, anything, they consider that immediately dangerous to life or health. All right. One more for you, Sawyer. This one should be an easy one. What is a hose called that's ready to use?
An attack line.
That attack line might not be ready to use yet.
What do you got to do to it?
I'm not going to give you wrong answer for that because that attack line might not be ready to use yet. What needs to happen to it before I can use it?
Have a nozzle and water in it.
I'll give him that. I'll give him that. It's charged. He's going, yep, I knew that. I'll give you that as a right answer, though. So a line that is ready is charged. That's why if you're ever on a fire scene, when everybody first gets there, you'll see the guys up on the nozzle screaming and yell, give me water, charge the line, because we're ready to go to work. Mm-hmm. And you talked about it earlier. It seems like an hour when somebody goes and gets something. It seems like 3 hours when you're standing at the fire with a nozzle in your hand waiting on the water.
And you're looking at the hose and you can see the water coming down the hose. Yep. And it just seems to take forever.
And then don't forget, it gets a kink in it.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And then you open the bail and nothing because of the kink.
Yep.
All right. Let's give him one more, and then we'll be done. This multi-purpose firefighter tool is used for prying, striking, punching, and twisting.
It's a Halligan.
That's a Halligan. All right. Good job. I don't know if they heard that. There we go. Good job. The favorite tool generally of any firefighter because it is the most useful. So I'll say this. If you are a non-firefighter and you don't know what a Halligan is, hop online, Google it, and take a look at the picture because it'll do about anything we want it to do. All right, Sawyer, thanks for being here. This was kind of a warm-up for him. Eventually, we're going to hear his story like we heard yours.
And the questions are going to get tougher, too.
So
I have to bring out my academy book again.
You might need to start studying just to make sure. Can we fail him? Can we just be like, if he gets too many wrong, be like, you know what? He's got to go back to the academy.
There isn't a fail. In the fire service, I've always looked at it. If you go and you do something wrong, like if he was to come down and train with us and you did something wrong, it's not a fail. It's just an opportunity to teach him a different way to do it. And on the other hand, he's just coming out of the academy. If he came down to one of our trainings, he may very well come in and say, hey, I got an idea. This is how they taught us. Let's do that. So I don't think we can fail him.
We learn more from our failures.
Absolutely.
A sound guy that was here doing our sound from church, he said he's one of the best. He didn't say this bragging, but he's one of the best sound guys in the world. And his work backs it up. The people he did sound for backs that up. He said, I became that way because I made the most mistakes of any sound guy in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that true? Pretty much anything that I'm telling him that he needs to do, it's because I've done it the wrong way and I learned the hard way. So I'd rather him not have to do that.
And sometimes that is the best way because it sticks with you forever.
Yep.
We'll save that. We'll save that for another episode.
That'll be another good episode.
With me and the tender.
Aha. All right. Well, say goodbye, Sawyer. Thanks for playing along, by the way.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I wish I had a trophy or something to give to you, but I don't.
Trophies being in the fire service. So.
That's right. We're not in it for the trophies.
That's right.
Well, it depends. That's all right. We got to get out of here. Hey, guys, thanks for listening. This has been fun. If you like this segment, let us know. If you're on YouTube, drop a comment, ask a question for the rookie, and there's a good possibility. If it's clean, if it's decent, we will feature it and maybe even give you credit. You can Subscribe to us on YouTube. We'd love to have you there. You can listen to us anywhere you listen to podcasts. Please, please, please share this podcast with anybody that you think might enjoy it or it might help. Hey, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you next week.